Hello, our dear viewers, and welcome to our special edition of Africa Today, where we are going to shed light about today's celebration by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and First Lady Intisar al-Sisi, witnessing the celebration marking Mother's Day at Al Manara Conference Center in New Cairo. During the celebration, a number of mothers and women were honored. Addressing the event, President Sisi said that Egyptian woman has become a role model. He said that People's Assembly will approve a law to ban underage marriage, and he said that Egyptian married couples should work on maintaining stable relationships for the sake of their children. To shed more light on that celebration and this very special day, we are joined over the phone by Dr. Sahar Nazmi, the social development expert. Dr. Sahar, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Sahar, how do you see the celebration today by President Sisi and the Egyptian First Lady honoring the Egyptian women, and what message here we are receiving from the President about the keenness of the Egyptian administration to honor the Egyptian woman?
We are seeing a president with a very strong political will, a very organized agenda for the women, with all his critical, political, local, international issues. He never fails to meet with women, empowering them, assuring them of their real role in development, and labeling women as the conscience of the nation, and being responsible for family stability and unity. President Sisi and Mrs. Sisi, they never failed to assure and send a message of confidence and support to women across the board, from rural areas to urban areas. He is there for everyone, for their needs, to make their social life better and their political rights well given. The political yes. Political will in the recent years has guaranteed for women all their most of their social and political rights. We are now ranked 66 globally in representation of women in parliamentary bodies, up from 135. This is a very strong jump and leap for women to go from a ranking of 135 worldwide to 66 in less than 10 years. That's an achievement, and that really labels President Sisi as the one behind that development.
Yes. Dr. Nazmi, actually addressing the event, President Sisi said that the Egyptian woman has actually become a role model, and he said that People's Assembly will approve a law to ban underage marriage. How do you see the importance of this law?
This underage marriage is a disaster. It brings in, it builds families that are not qualified to be family in terms of age or in terms of context. This underage marriage is a serious problem for the social life, for the welfare of families. And I believe paying attention to this situation by President Sisi is very crucial and will impact positively on family structure in Egypt.
Yes. Doctor, also the President, during his speech before the celebration gathering, he said that the married couples should work actually on maintaining stable relationships for the sake of their children. What message here do you want to deliver on this occasion, Dr. Nazmi, as you can read here the message which was sent by President Sisi regarding the importance of the social bond for a better future for the new generations?
Family is the first nuclear for any person. Family stability, family values, family culture, family strong bond of respect and, of course, love among the couple will create stable children, will build healthy societies.
Yes.
And President Sisi is really very visionary and thoughtful about the importance of having a strong, well-educated family for having better
Yes.
generation.
Yes. Dr. Sahar, how do you weigh here the role of the Egyptian women in developing the society?
We are the bottleneck, and I believe women are in charge.
Yes.
When you teach a woman, you are teaching a whole generation.
Yes.
That gives us the responsibility to acquire information, responsibility to be supported by valuable education for the coming generation. Dr. Maya Morsi considers us as women the third defense line after army and police.
Yes.
Look how important
Indeed.
our role is for a stable society, for safety, for
Yes.
the welfare of our communities. We are considered the third line after army and police immediately.
Yes.
That gives us responsibility, and we have to be up to it.
Yes, indeed. Doctor, how do you see here the path to women empowerment in Egypt?
It was a bit weak. It was a bit not supported by a very strong and political will. It was not on the agenda. It was there for the sake of doing it, but not really living it, not really taking actions and concrete decisions to improve the process of empowering women. We have been listening to empowerment of women for years, but it was not on the ground.
Yes.
It wasn't something that we can touch and feel it. Very much different to recent years.
Yes. Doctor, that would bring me to ask about what are the fields that have witnessed women empowerment in Egypt from your point of view?
Political, the representation in the parliament,
Yes.
the contribution, the participation in the administration. We have like 8 to 10 ministers. They're doing fantastic job. President Sisi trusts the wisdom, trust that women have wisdom by nature, that they are really perfectionists. When we do a job, we're after being perfect. We're not happy with reasonable results, with only good results. We're after excellent results. President Sisi recently wanted to scale up qualification problems for rural women pioneers so that they can give good example for their neighbors and their communities. Again and again, being the conscience of the nation, he considers us the conscience. We have to be, for him, up to it. We have to deliver.
Indeed. Dr. Sahar Nazmi, our social development expert, many thanks for your precious input and for being with us and moving on with this report where ancient Egyptians gave great value to women. One of the most significant examples was the annual festival to honor Isis. More details.
Ancient Egyptians held an annual festival to honor Isis, one of the most popular and enduring goddesses of ancient Egypt, who represented the ideal mother and wife. She was patroness of nature and magic. According to ancient Egyptian mythology, Isis was the wife of Osiris, who was also her brother. When Osiris was murdered by their envious brother Set, Isis gathered Osiris's body parts that had been scattered around Egypt and used them to impregnate herself. She then gave birth to Horus, who avenged his father's death and killed Set, becoming the first ruler of Egypt. As a result, Isis was regarded as the mother of all pharaohs and became symbolic of motherhood and an annual festival was held in her honor. Isis was first depicted with an empty throne on her head, personifying the power behind the pharaoh. Later, she was represented with the horns of a cow on her head, with the solar disk between them, or as a winged goddess, a signifier of both her protectiveness and the ability to fan renewed life into the dead. By the New Kingdom, some depictions of Isis showed her feeding her son Horus.
The empowerment of women in Egypt has been gaining public attention in recent years. Here are more details about the status of women in Egypt and the steps taken for empowerment of women in the following story by Samah Sharif.
In Egypt, officials say they are pursuing the twin goals of inclusive growth and social justice. Focus on the role of women as an important contributor to economic progress is gaining increasing attention. Female labor force participation in Egypt has been low and has remained stagnant over time, with women's labor force participation at 23.1% and women's unemployment rate 2.5 times higher than that of men. Reasons for such low figures include the gender gap in wages and segmentation of the labor market, barriers to access finance and markets, high reproductive rates, especially in rural areas, and unequal gender division of unpaid domestic work. Consequently, women remain disproportionately affected by poverty and discrimination and are concentrated mainly in informal, insecure, low-wage jobs or in fields with little, if any, social protection and career progression opportunities. Analysts say that at the same time, women's economic empowerment is not only the right thing, but also the smart thing to do. Research shows that if female employment rates were equal to those of men, then Egypt's gross domestic product could increase by up to 34%.
Gender equality and women empowerment are two goals laid out in the African Agenda 2063. More details.
Mandate for advocacy and coordination of UN system and international support for peace, security, human rights, and inclusive development in Africa. The Office of the Special Advisor on Africa, OSAA, places a special emphasis on gender equality and the empowerment of women. Over the years, African governments, regional and sub-regional organizations have made significant commitments towards gender equality and women's empowerment, including through the Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and the Rights of Women in Africa 2003 and the Solemn Declaration on Gender Equality in Africa 2004. At the 24th Summit of the African Union held on 23 to 31 January 2015 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, African heads of state and government adopted Agenda 2063, the continent's 50-year structural transformation and development agenda. The agenda's sixth aspiration is an Africa where development is people-driven, unleashing the potential of women and youth. It calls for Africa to work towards full gender equality and the empowerment of women in all spheres of life. In further recognition of the important role of women and girls in driving the achievement of Agenda 2063's wide-ranging economic, environmental, sociocultural, political, scientific, and technological goals, the summit declared 2015 the Year of Women's Empowerment and Development towards Africa's Agenda 2063.
Well, with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of this special edition of our program, Africa Today. Thank you for watching.